Doggies fans, all things Bulldogs. So we're coming up with our forward pack now for the 2023 season. Just my predicted team. We've already got the back line sorted, so now we're going to pick out the middle forwards and the hooker. And I'll run through the contenders for the side. The middle forwards, we have Luke Thompson, Tavita Pangai Jr., Maximus King, Franklin Pele, Samuel Hughes, Chris Patolo. They're your major forwards, as well as Ryan Sutton, the new import. The likes of Raymond Fatala Mariner are more for the edge, same with Viliami Kikau, although they're both big. And some people have suggested Big Ray could transition into the middle at some point. But he seems to be going all right on the edge at the moment, so we'll talk about the edge in the next movie. So to get right to it, the forward pack is where we have struggled the most over the last 4 or 5 years, in my opinion. Even when we had the likes of Clemmer in the side, and then we got Aaron Woods before they departed, we just seem to be really struggling to win that ruck and to generate any ruck speed in attack and to slow the ruck in defence. It's just been a problem of ours. We got Dylan Napper into the side to try and help. That was a failed experiment, and the only real big forward to come into our system to actually really do well has been Paul Vaughan, and unfortunately that was only for 12 months. But hopefully the impact he made with his performances, and a lot of it was unseen by many, but a few in the know really, and I heard from the team as well, they were really impressed with the way that he played. He was a first hit up guy. He'd often make yardage. He was very high on post contact meters as well, and he gets to the ground and plays the ball quick, and was pretty good at the wrestle in the middle of the field. Now the Dogs, for the period of 2 years, the end of Dean Pay and then on to Trent Barrett, we just couldn't win the ruck at all. Couldn't get any momentum, couldn't stop momentum. And Paul Vaughan, since he arrived, and also another one, Max King, and Tavita, they did help the side progress. And that's why we're in a lot more matches last year, which meant that we had hope in a lot more games, and we actually won 7 of them. And probably, we're within 4 points at the 60-minute mark in about 16 or 17 matches. So that shows you a much improved team, and a lot of that was to do with the better forwards performance. So we've lost Paul Vaughan. The other one obviously is Luke Thompson. Now Luke Thompson is our highest paid player in the forward pack. I think he's on about 800 grand. Tavita, I think, comes down to about 750 after we contributed on his first year. I heard reports though he's on higher than that, so who knows who to believe with salary cap sometimes. But the whole fact of the matter is these guys have to step up if we're going to be any chance whatsoever. So I'm going to give the first forward position to Luke Thompson as such a highly paid player. If he's not shopped off, and I don't mean any disrespect, it's just a reality with the salary that he's on. If he's in the side, we really need him to perform. He's got great leg speed. He's quite fit, although he hasn't played enough footy. So a good pre-season and miles in his legs, no injuries. We should hopefully see the best of Luke Thompson. Now Maximus King is the one who gets the other starting spot for me in the front row, and that's because he did a really good job last year. Him and Paul Vaughan bounced off each other, did really good things together. His offloads were great as well, involved in a couple of good tries. Yeah, fans really liked Max King, and it's really, really good to see. So I hope he's a good young kid, had some terrible injuries, come to the Dogs looking for an opportunity, and he's taken it with both hands. So they're my 2 front rowers. The lock forward, I'm going to start off with Tavita Pangai Jr. Ryan Sutton can play there as well. The two props can play lock as well, both have, in Thompson and King. We don't really have a great ball playing lock at the moment. People have suggested Jackson Tapine could fill that role potentially. Waddell's played there before. So there's a lot of options for the side, but I think Tavita, we need to get that, you know, the people we're paying the big money to need to get on that field to start the season and earn their keep. And that's what we want to see, because they're going to set it up for the rest of the side. Tavita's looking a lot fitter after his boxing and his time with Sonny Bill Williams. And he's talked a lot. There's been a lot of talk about him, you know, getting results and doing better. We just want to see it on the field, because we know at his best he's one of the best forwards in the game. But it's just too far and far between. But in saying that, he was still one of our best players last year, and a lot of people, including himself, would say he underperformed based on his wage. But still, he topped offloads, and a lot of good stuff happened off the back of Tavita, and he, you know, he did carry on a little bit sometimes, but it's good to see. He wanted to lead his team, and he was fired up, and he wants people to follow him into battle, and that's not a bad sign in my opinion. So that's our front row and our lock. Obviously, a lot of those players are going to come into contention for the bench spots. We'll probably see two front rowers on that bench, a utility and a back rower, and we'll talk about that, as well as the edge back rowers left and right, and that'll be in the next post. For the hooker position, Reid Marnie's obviously our hooker, and he will join that front row. Adds good experience, 100 games, bullet passes from the ground that can travel a long way, gives time for the halves to run onto the footy, can pick players out in the back line. He can hit a centre or an edge back rower. I think he's going to be a great, a really good sort of player to have with Viliami, Kikau and Burton in the side especially. He's going to do wonders for Flanagan. Adds to the kicking game of both the halves. Plus he's got his own kicking game, which is an added bonus. I have a feeling we may see less time on the field for Marnie in the Bulldogs jersey. I think there's going to be a push towards having a really influential utility, and I think New Brown's come to the club to fill that role, and I think that will be explored at some point, if not straight away. And obviously you've got Brandon Clark, who's a work in progress, the project, the young guy from the Capras who looked really, really good in Flegg. He will try to do his best to get a position at some point. And obviously you've got players like Josh Reynolds trying to crack the top 30. He's probably going to be looked at as a utility sort of role, leadership role. And always, you know, Jackson Tapine could play at hooker, as he could play lock as well. But I think Jackson Tapine, I think we might see him in another position in the 17. Not in the starting 13 though, but that's just my thoughts. Alright guys, so that's our team. Our forward pack, our team is almost complete. We just got to name the edge back rowers and the bench. So thanks for all the support. Over 350 subscribers now. It's going really good, and appreciate the feedback. Cheers guys.